Good evening. Here it is, 8 o'clock on Thursday, June 1st. And this is a little bit different time for me. So I hope I'm going to press all the right buttons. It does say that I'm live and recording. So, okay, just looking around here to make sure everything's okay. Welcome. This is Pat Mayer, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I live in Akron, Ohio. I am normally on Mondays at 3:30, and I made some things that I guess it was a request. Would you please show how to make this? So I don't know if anybody's going to pop on. I did schedule this for 8 o'clock this evening. So I am going to go ahead and get started. And if anybody pops on, I'm only on YouTube, not on Facebook today. Thought I would try something a little bit different. Let's get going, and I'll kind of give the background of what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. On Monday during my live, I was making patriotic cards for Memorial Day. So this was the card that I made. I always had my little prototype, and then this was the one I made online. And I also did this one. And actually, kind of a funny story, when I wasn't figuring out what I was doing the right way, I thought I had pre-recorded to show up on Monday, on the holiday. Well, I pressed the wrong buttons, and it actually showed on Sunday instead of Monday because I was at a picnic. So anyway, long story short, on Monday, before I went to the picnic, I thought I always got a poppy at Memorial Day time from the veterans. They would be at the grocery store or the bank or whatever on the Saturday before Memorial Day. And I thought, I'm going to make some pins for my friends at the picnic. So this is what I came up with. It's the same poppy from the Paper Florist Dies, but I put a pin back on it. And I had some requests to see how I did it, because it's really quite sturdy. I mean, this is not moving. So I will show you what I did, but kind of to backtrack a little bit, these are the Paper Florist dies, and I am just absolutely over the moon in love with them. There are 14 dies. There's no stamp set to go with it. In the catalog, you can see the dies, I believe on page 165, and then they're on a project on page 33. But if you will take a look at the back of the current annual catalog, you'll see not just some daisies from the daisy suite, but also some flowers from this set of dies. So anyway, this is a little bit different for me on a Thursday evening, but I might do it more often. But anyway, hello, Shirley, welcome. So I will show you what I did. And if you did watch on Monday, you saw me make this and just put it on the card and that. So I'm still going to go through the whole process, because where I posted this is where I had a request on how I made the whole flower. So that's what I'll do. So what I need for this is a Stampin Pierce mat, 8 of the large petals, and that's this die that makes 3 at one time. And you'll notice on the die there is a line here, and that cuts this slit in the bottom of the petal. And there's also a little like line of demarcation where you can make a little line. I guess it's a score line, but it's not very pronounced. There's a little score line there. I'm not going to use that, but I'm going to let it help me determine my placement. So let's put that back so it doesn't get lost. So anyway, I need 8 of these. I also need a 1-inch, you can use a circle punch, or this is the 1-inch smallest circle from the Stylus Shapes dies. And then you need, to make the poppy, I'm using the black and the red, you need this die from the set that looks like this. And that gives you this look. And then I also have some of these circles. Now there are 2 dies here. One is a plain circle with the one with the little dots. And for this particular flower, I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference which one you use. So if you can see the difference, this one has the little dots on it on the large part, and this one has the little dots on it for the small part. And then they just alternate. When I first looked at this, I thought these were identical and you got 2 of the same thing, but that's not the case. So that's all you need from the set of dies, because we're not putting any leaves on the back of this. So this was my plan. I had looked for some poppies online to kind of get an idea of what they looked like. And there were some what I thought were indentations in the poppy. So I've got the smallest stylus tool from my Take a Pick tool, and this little attachment has a large on one end and a small on the other, and I'm using the smallest one, and that snaps in there. So I'm just starting in the center. Ooh, my air conditioner just went on. We are having a heat wave here in Ohio, and no rain in sight for the next, we haven't had any for a while, and we won't have any for another week, and it's hot. So anyway, I started at the center where that little slit is, and just made some lines in the petals. So I'll do that very quickly. Should have had some of these done ahead of time, but I had to watch my favorite shows. I always watch Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy in the evening to see how many of those questions. I have no idea what they are. So anyway, although I did know quite a few tonight. And these are just random, so no stress on putting these marks on those petals. But I'm just going down to as far as where that little line is, what you might call a score line, and then down where the slit is in there. So that part's almost done. And it really does make a difference in the look of the flower. So even if I'm going to use this set to make other floral images, I think I would put that in there just because flowers are like that, I guess. That's my story. Now I'm going to go ahead and add Wink of Stella now instead of when I put the card together, or the flower together, and then give that a chance to dry, and I think it will work a little bit better. Again, that was something that I added because I thought it really accentuated the lines that I scored in there. So it's just again, a random brush on there. And it just goes together like that. So this is kind of going to be short and sweet. I think I made 5 of these pins for the picnic on Monday afternoon in little more than an hour. So if you wanted to make a bunch of these for next year, or for any event where you wanted to have a flower for everybody, once you do all the mass producing of getting your flowers and your petals and pieces parts cut, then it does go together really fast. So let's grab the 1-inch circle from the Stylus Shapes, and now I'm using my silicone mat, because that helps for several things. First of all, I don't know if you knew this, but sometimes this just has trouble getting going, our Stampin' Seal, and I'm using the Stampin' Seal Plus, but you can use your silicone mat to kind of help that, slide that through, and you're not getting adhesive on your paper. So I'm going to add a couple strips of that, pretty much filling up that little circle. And now I'm just kind of looking where the center of that is, putting my first petal down. I'm not going to press it too hard. I might have to release it a little bit. So that looks pretty good. And I'm just lining up the score lines, or not the score lines, but the slit in that. So I'm not using the slit at all. Technically, if you've not seen this before, that slit there is so that you can add adhesive here and fold that over to get more of a petal look, if that makes any sense. Okay, so it goes like that. I'm not doing that with this particular flower, because again, what I looked at and what I wanted to recreate was more of a flat petal. Okay, so now I'm going to turn that, add a little bit more adhesive to the center, and now I'm just lining up the slit in the petal with the slit there. Okay, so it looks like that. And then just keep going around. Add a little bit more adhesive. Line it up that way. Whoops, didn't get that on there. So now I have a little, what looks like an X here, going this way and this way. And they all line up. So it makes it very easy to keep it aligned so that the flower is symmetrical. I guess that's the word that I want to use. Okay, now let's add some more adhesive. You could use liquid glue here, I suppose, or glue dots. I just found that this was easier. So now I'm taking the slit and putting that in where the center of that is. So that lines up. Turn it around. Add another one. I think there's enough adhesive there, but I'm going to add some more just in case. Don't want this pin to fall apart. It's really quite sturdy. Okay, so now we've got this, and then the last two are going to go on the opposite side. Again, more adhesive. Line up the slits, so now I have another X in the center. So here we are, June 1st. Can you believe it? May just whizzed right by. All right, so there's our flower. This is what I used to make the card on Monday, and it was basically done. Now we want to add this cute little center here, and I tried to line up the longest little spokes on this piece with those slit lines so that they get covered up. Okay, so now you can't see them. So there's that. And now I'm going to take one of these tiny circles and put that in the center. And there is a top and a bottom to this. Let's make sure I get the right way. Although it really wouldn't make that much difference, I guess. So there is the flower. Now you could curl these if you like. And again, this is very sturdy. And by the way, this is the Poppy Parade paper. So I guess that is the color of a poppy. Now let's do the other side, and this is where we create the pin. And I knew I had these somewhere in the house, and fortunately I found them. This is a pin back. You can see that. And I measured the bottom of this where you see the little holes, and that's about 3/4 of an inch. And I had these for something, I don't know if it was for sewing or back in the day when we made felt and fleece pins with our die cutting machine. I made a lot of those. And then I started to put magnets on my pins. Yes, this is 3/4 of an inch. But basically, I think what these holes are for people who want to sew pin backs on their fabric projects. So I'm going to, first of all, let's see which way this is going to open. So I want that to go on the left. And these are available on Amazon. So I'm just going to put that in the center of that backing. Okay, it's not going to stay there for long till I add the adhesive. And here's where I'm using the tear and tape. And my paper snips. And just lay that down. First I put one in the center. And that's probably about an inch, maybe a little bit less, so it doesn't go over the back of that. And then just tear this off. Tear the backing off. Okay, put another one there. So I made it super duper sticky, and we know the tear and tape is very unforgiving. So when it sticks, it sticks. I'm going to put that in and snip it off. Okay. Okay, I need to burnish it because it's getting a little bit thick under there anyway, and then peel that off. All right, now there's enough sticky there. There's plenty of adhesive there, and we don't want that to show or the adhesive to be there. So now I'm taking one of these large circles, die cut circles, and you could use either one. It wouldn't make any difference whether it's the one that has the little dots in it or the plain one. And then I'm just going to lay that over top of that. There's a little bit of sticky there. And that is it. That is how you make a pin out of this. And again, I said you could use your bone folder or just your hand to curl those a little bit, although it's really not necessary. And you could put that pin on a card, punch a couple holes in your card and send that off to somebody. I actually did that today, to send one of these to a friend who's struggling with some health issues. So I thought that would be good for her to have because she liked it. So that is how you make the pin back. Very simple. And I had one other thing that I wanted to show. So I just couldn't stop with the pins. And I made these little flowers this afternoon. No particular idea on the color scheme that I chose, but I have one of the little poppies. And in my stash somewhere, I found some floral wire. And I will, now this isn't holding together nearly as well as the pin does, but I punched a hole in that Stylus shaped circle so that I could put the end of the floral wire in there. And this is pretty thick. It was hard, and made a little loop. And on this one then I did put some leaves on the back. So there's that to go in my little vase. Here's one I made out of fresh freesia. And then here's one that I did with our new Moody Mauve. And then otherwise everything else is the same, just the different colors. So that is my short and sweet video for a Thursday evening. And I may come back again. I mentioned something about doing evening videos a while back and never really made a commitment to that. Thank you, Shirley. So I may do something in the evenings and Thursday seems to work because I don't typically have anything going on a Thursday evening. And then maybe I can do a little bit longer class and project too. But this one is short and sweet. Let me show you the cards again. So now I have these two pins. Two pins are ready. And then these were the cards that I did on, basically it came out on Sunday night and not the Monday that I had expected, but that's okay. Nobody was complaining. And then here was another with the red, white, and blue theme. So hopefully some people will pick this up on the replay since it was a little bit scheduled impromptu, and at the last minute I only scheduled it a couple of hours ago. So I probably caught some people off guard. And maybe they're watching and just didn't make any comments. So that's okay too. So it just gives me pleasure to be able to do this and to share and have fun with our die cuts and our stamps. So I appreciate it. Shirley, thank you so much for being here. Hey, if you will message me your address, I will send you one of these. I don't think I have it. I'll send you a pin on a card. So take care. And for my regular subscribers, I will see you next Monday at 3:30. And we'll go from there. Maybe a couple times a month I'll do this in the evening. So take care. Have a great rest of your evening and a great rest of the week. We've got a good hot weekend coming up. I've got a garage sale I'm doing tomorrow with some friends, not at my house, but someplace else. And it's going to be a hot one. So take care.